Well, welcome to today's interview with Mormon Entrepreneur. Today I'm with John Richards, which is actually really exciting for me. John Richards is not only a friend, but an individual who has been a personal mentor in my entrepreneurial pursuits. We're also friends as far as our relationship with Bill Price at the Center for Entrepreneurship at BYU. So welcome, John.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So when did we meet? We met back, when I was doing a degree and didn't need business degree,
Yes.
e-commerce degree, and so forth. You were running that class in there. And
A few years ago.
yeah, that was actually quite a few years ago. Probably about 4 or 5. But
Yes.
yeah. So tell us what you think about Mormon Entrepreneur.
Mormon Entrepreneur, online magazine that I found very compelling when you first shared with me that you were doing it, and so I got excited about it, and that's why I introduced you to some other folks that hopefully brought it to the next level.
Yeah, that's true. So currently we have a relationship with the Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology at BYU, and it's been a pleasure for me to work with Bill Price, and now we're working at BoomStartup, which has been a pleasure for me, and I'm very grateful for you and the other investors that have invested in Mashworks, and it's been a treat. So as a professor at BYU, John, tell us your philosophy on entrepreneurship.
Oh, my philosophy on entrepreneurship, you have to take my class to get that whole.
Yeah,
that's a semester-long class, right?
Okay.
So, it's a pretty practical approach. A lot of people think that entrepreneurs are wild risk takers and gamblers, but that's not always the case. They're more risk managers, and so when we talk about entrepreneurship and we teach about entrepreneurship, we help people become more comfortable with taking the risk of entrepreneurship, managing that, and turning it into a business enterprise that they can actually plan out, calculate out, and run effectively. So it's a combination of kind of the wild, crazy spirit of entrepreneurship coupled with the business discipline of good practice and management. And so it's a combination. I like to say you need to have your heart on fire and your brain on ice. It's the combination.
Oh, that's very interesting. So that's really good. Is this the same philosophy that you have with BoomStartup?
BoomStartup is about helping to mitigate the risk of the early startup phase for a tech company. So a software internet-based company, it's a very high failure rate. It's very tough to start those companies and make it through the early stages to where it's self-sustaining with its revenues. And along the way you have to bootstrap, you have to raise capital, you have to do a lot of things to make it to cash flow positive. And so there's a high attrition, a high failure rate. And BoomStartup is an effort to have a mentorship-driven program that helps the entrepreneurial founders get through that difficult first stage and actually make it and get to success.
Great. So you've already walked the walk and you're already successful as an entrepreneur, and you're thus now striving to be able to help other individuals like myself and others to be able to make it themselves, and it's a tremendous effort. Who are the individuals that got you to where you're at right now?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, have to say my wife, I have to say my brother, my mother. I literally have done business with them in my early stage of my career that got me to where I'm going. But to really talk about a lot of my business partners I've had over the years that I've decided to follow and join up with have really been instrumental. A real big mentor for me in the second half of an entrepreneur's life, which is once an entrepreneur's made it and had some success and they want to give back. How are they going to give back? I'd have to say Steve Gibson, who I know you've had featured on Mormon Entrepreneur before. He's one of my mentors. Back when I was at the height of my career and doing very well in terms of financial rewards and success, I heard him speak for the first time, and I said, I want to be that when I grow up. And so I've followed some of the advice and the mentoring that Steve Gibson has given me. So that's one person that I would count as a mentor. And he's a legendary entrepreneur and angel investor here in this area and has been key in many of the great companies in Utah.